Greetings. About 10 months ago, I did a video that I titled Balancing New Good Habits with Bad Ones. And the basic idea at the time was to basically tell you that I was going to try to do some new habits, some things that I'd already started, and how sometimes when you're trying to start a new good habit, that sometimes it turns into a bad habit. Not necessarily overly bad, but it's still somewhat bad. So I'm going to tackle each of those points, one-on-one. I'm not hopefully going to get too much into what I did before, what I talked about before, but the end screen is going to link to that particular video. So there we go. So here's the first one, which was I wanted to change my sleeping processes. So my goal back then was to see if I could reach at least 6 hours of sleep a night. And I had gotten better at it, but not really all that much. And so I started the new year by actually working to get that harder. And one of the things that I knew was an issue was that I couldn't get 6 hours of sleep unless I was taking ibuprofen PM or the acetaminophen PM. And, you probably shouldn't be taking those every single day. I looked it up online. That's what it said. So I decided to see what the ingredient was that was in the ibuprofen PM that was putting me to sleep. And I can't pronounce it. It begins with a D. It's a really long word. I'm sorry. I just can't pronounce it. Anyway, it had 39 milligrams of that in there. So I decided to look that up. And it turns out it's the same stuff that's in Benadryl, which I've only ever used maybe 2 or 3 times in my entire life because I never had allergy issues. And, it used to be a cold medicine. And I haven't had many colds, so I haven't needed a lot of that kind of stuff. So it turned out that you can actually buy these sleep aids that is the main ingredient in it. And it was 39 milligrams, but that makes me drowsy during the day. So I didn't want to get that much. They had a bunch of them at 50 milligrams. I said, well, 50 is more than 39. I don't want to do that. But I found something where it came in at 25 milligrams, and I got 200 pills for about $9. I said, that sounds like a pretty good deal. So it's just come today. So I'm going to be trying that over the next few days, see if that puts me to sleep. And because it's 25 rather than 39, we're going to find out. So I did change the sleeping patterns, but I want to get better at it. What's funny is the last 3 days, I have slept over 7 hours twice. And this morning I woke up and I'd slept 6.5 hours. So there you go. Then I said that I wanted to reduce my caffeine. The reason I worried about reducing caffeine is because I thought that maybe it was the caffeine that was keeping me awake and, fighting to sleep. Well, it turns out that ain't quite true. There's articles online, there's videos online on YouTube by doctors who said, caffeine's been getting a bad rap. It will not destroy your sleep. There are some people who do have issues with it. They get sleepy or their hands start getting all jittery and whatever. But they said that you have to drink a whole lot or consume a whole lot of caffeine. And if you're taking over 700 milligrams of caffeine into your body a day, you might have an issue. But most people don't even reach 300 milligrams a day. So I gave that one up. Yeah. Although, to be honest, I am drinking a lot of no caffeine diet soda, which turns out it still has some caffeine, but it's less caffeine. That's just how it is. But still, I flavor it with this cherry juice and this vanilla stuff. Works out just fine. So that one, I don't worry about anymore. Then I said at the time I was taking a shower every morning and I had done it 10 days in a row. I knew I wasn't going to sustain that, and I did not sustain that. And I'm not taking a shower every single day. I do have mornings where I wake up and I just immediately go in and I take a shower. Then I have some days where I wait until the afternoon and then I'll take a shower. And then I have some days where if I'm just staying in the house, what's the point taking a shower? If I already feel okay because I've been sleeping better, I don't need to shower every day. So I'm not doing that, but it's not necessarily a bad idea. But as my friend's wife said to me one time, showers are overrated. One of my favorite lines ever. I love that she said that. So I'm sticking with that one. The next one was making my bed every morning. That one I kind of vacillate on because even back then I said that a lot of times I just pull the covers over. Well, it's just me. Ain't nobody else coming in the house. You know, I don't have hot babes coming into the house and then going into the bedroom. It's not happening. Okay. That's just how my life is. My life's always kind of been that way, except every once in a while. Don't ask. Anyway, I have no one else coming to the house, so I don't have a need to do the whole bed out so that everything is perfect. I pull the covers over it, and because it's cold, I mean, it's been cold. I mean, this morning, it was pretty much in the 30s, low 30s, all day long. So I leave the electric blanket on all day long because if I decide I want to take a nap, which hasn't happened often, I think I've taken one nap in the last week, but I want the bed to be warm when I get in there. It's just one of those kind of things. So I'm pulling the covers up, but I'm not making it all smooth and pretty and whatever because you know what, I'm going to mess that up anyway. So there you go. And then I said that I eat my small breakfast. That I'm basically still doing. So I eat my one soft bagel every single morning, Wegmans brand. I did change from what they call the cinnamon swirl to the, what do they call it? Oh my God. The wheat. The whole wheat. Because the other one didn't taste anything like cinnamon. It didn't have anything else. My mind was thinking it would taste like a cinnamon bun. It never tasted like a cinnamon bun. It had these hard things in it that was just getting on my nerve. So I switched to whole wheat. And I love that. It toasts. It's nice and soft. You know, I did buy some, what do they call it? Cinnamon sugar. McCormick cinnamon sugar. Because I said I was still missing that. That has helped a lot. I love that stuff. And of course, I'm still putting peanut butter on it. So I'm still eating that every morning. So that's not bad. At least I'm eating something in the morning. Most of the time, I'm making myself some iced tea in the morning. I sweeten it with equal. So it seems like sweet tea, but you know, trying to stay under the sugar amount. So at least I'm still doing that. I don't go out for breakfast as much anymore as I used to. Basically because I feel like if I'm going to go out, I need to take a shower. Not in the mood to take a shower. Isn't that a shame? So that's that. Keeping my desk clean. I keep the desk neater than I used to, but cleaning it every single day, no. I don't have a really big pile over here next to me. This is where my planner is. I keep almost nothing on the other side of my desk. That's where I charge my phone, and I may charge my Fitbit over here. But I don't usually put much stuff over on that side. But I have a little bit of stuff here. Usually something may sit there 2 or 3 days. Like I go out, get the mail, and I'll just set it over there because I don't feel like opening it up every single day. But every few days I go open stuff up. Most of it is garbage, so I don't really need it anyhow. Anything else I put over in a little slot over here. And I deal with it when it gets closer to bills. So it's cleaner than it is. The area in front of me is totally clean. Right now, I have the keyboard down below instead of on the desk, but there you go. So I have done pretty well with that. And then folding clothes. Okay, I was doing well for a while there where I would wash the clothes, bring them back to my bedroom, and then fold them up right then and there. Yeah, that didn't take. So I didn't keep up with that one. I just folded clothes today, but they'd been sitting there five days. I'm so ashamed. But that's just how it is sometimes. So there are some times where I actually will do it on the same day, but I'm not doing it as regularly anymore. So there it is. It's not really a big deal because I still have a bunch of other clothes. But I thought that maybe I could keep up with that one. Nah, didn't happen. But it's not a big deal. Keeping the kitchen clean. So I had mentioned that one of the things I started doing was cleaning the kitchen at night before I decided to go to bed. And in a weird way, I have stuck with keeping the kitchen clean, but instead of waiting until nighttime, I'm basically washing everything while I'm still in the kitchen. And I'm saying basically. For instance, every morning when I make my bagel, I wash the knife with the peanut butter. I wash the spoon that I use to stir the tea or, mash the bags in it so that that excess stuff comes out. I don't actually know if that does anything real good, but it makes me think it's give me more flavor. Psychology is a wonderful thing. But I wash that kind of stuff. If I cook something for lunch really quick or make a quick sandwich, I wash that stuff before I bring it back to the office because I eat here most of the time. And I have paper plates. I have this gigantic stack of paper plates, so I don't have to wash a lot of plates. If I cook a dinner, it depends on how much I make. For instance, if I've made a bunch of stuff where it's now going to go into more than just one meal, I will come back to that. I will scoop that stuff out, put it in a container, and then I will wash. But I'm going to eat first because, the food's still warm. I'd rather eat this stuff. I did that, a couple days ago where I made my version of spaghetti Alfredo, chicken spaghetti Alfredo. So I cooked the chicken and then I added the sauce into that, and I had already boiled the spaghetti because I don't have any fettuccine in the house. I don't even know if Wegmans sells fettuccine because I've never looked for it, but it tasted wonderful. But it turned out to be a whole bunch. I'm bad at measurements, so I still have some in a container, and I'll be enjoying that tomorrow, whether for lunch or for dinner. So what I did is I ate something, then I walked a little bit, then I went in there and I cleaned everything up. I put it in the container, I washed everything, and the kitchen was spotless. And I've been doing that. So I'm proud of myself, keeping the kitchen spotless. What's next? Oh, let's see. I'm still using my planner. I mentioned that in the last one where I talked about goals, so I'm not getting deep into that, but I'm still doing that. And leaving the house more. No. No. I'm really not leaving the house more. I don't count hopping in the car and going to McDonald's or going to Burger King. It's a minute and a half away, both of them, just to grab a quick sandwich and go home. I don't count that. I don't count just going to Wegmans. Wegmans and I share a bet. Wegmans, for those of y'all who are not in central New York, that's the giant grocery store chain that we have in this area. And I share a backyard with it, so it's a minute away. And I don't count that as leaving the house because I don't have to totally clean up and dress up, whatever. Going elsewhere, it's cold. It's cold. I'm trying to keep my budget down for right now because it's winter and, whatever. So I don't have a need to just hop in the car and just go out unless I really want something. And if I really want something, or if I need to go pick a prescription up further than just the store right here, then I fully clean up. Sometimes I take the shower, then I'll go. But I don't have to do that all the time. So maybe I leave the house, for real, twice a week at best. But that's okay. Everything I want is in the house already. Everything I need is already in the house. And if I don't have it here, I got places where I can go get food. I can order Japanese food. It's right there. There's a KFC that's right on the other side of Burger King if I want that. It's rare I want that. But still, I can do that. I got pizza places that are kind of right across the street. Or I can have it delivered. I'm good. Don't have to leave the house more. So I'm good with that. Then there were the bad things. And I call them bad because, well, in their own way they are. For instance, I was putting multiple hours working on this training site. So last year, actually it started earlier than last year, but I had started working on a healthcare revenue cycle training site. Almost none of you know what that is. But this is one of the things I created with the opportunity to try to, generate income by, having this training site, teaching people. People could come, they could join, they may learn some stuff. Healthcare revenue cycle is all the finances except for accounting and budgeting. Everything else is what this is. This is what I have done as a profession for the most part. And I was spending 10 to 12 hours trying to figure this thing out. And I finally had some epiphanies and I figured things out. I had to do it pretty much on my own. I asked one guy to, how I could do something. He actually did it to show me it could be done, but then he never told me how to do it. And then I was trying to work with the autoresponder company so they would send out emails. And he wasn't necessarily helpful. He was very nice, kid from Brazil, but he wasn't overly helpful. And so I basically somehow figured it all out on my own. I was proud of myself for that, but I was putting extreme hours into that. Now I'm probably putting in, I will say, 3 to 4 hours a week because I still have to create new content for it. But that was better. Forgetting to eat lunch unless I leave the house. Okay, I still do that. A lot of times I end up missing lunch. I get up sometime, and by get up I mean out of bed, sometime between 8 and 9. I actually could now, over this past week, I've been getting up between 7:30 and 8. So I'll say 7:30, and I get up then, I will make my bagel, I'll have my tea, and then I probably won't eat again until 4 or 4:30. You might as well just call that dinner time. So I still haven't really been eating lunch all that often, unless I have something scheduled to meet with somebody, or a day like today where I just decided, you know what? It's Friday. I'm going downtown into the city to go to a place called the Dinosaur and get some ribs. I hadn't been there in maybe 6 or 7 years, but I went, enjoyed that. That doesn't happen often. So, I didn't worry about that. Not measuring my insulin properly. After I had done the last video, I got better at gauging where my carbs were, or where I thought, I should be, whether I should minimize or put more. And I decided, after I was still having a lot of crashes over the summer, and you can go check that out, diabetic crash. I've done that in other videos. You can go on Google and look that up. It just feels horrible. I decided it was better if I give myself less insulin than either the normal amount or a little bit more at night when I'm ready to go to bed. I can always alter that in the morning when I'm awake after I've eaten my bagel. But at night, I just didn't want to deal with any more crashes. And it's done well. I have not had, I've had one crash in maybe the last 5 weeks, and it was close. I mean, I woke up at a certain point, and I wasn't in full crash mode. And by that, I mean, my number hadn't dropped really far, but it was on the way down. And I was able to take care of it earlier. But in general, I've been doing that well. Everyone's got to learn that if you're taking your medication, you need to keep up with it, and you have to keep your eye on it and gauge how you're feeling with it. So that was something I did. And then I mentioned gaining weight and having higher blood pressure. Well, so I talked to my endocrinologist about my blood pressure because I had an appointment in November. They did this test. I said, how come I bought one at one of the pharmacy places, and it's always high? And she said, those are usually off by 20 to 40 points. It's no sense in doing that. They don't have the proper stuff. It's going to cost you a lot of money to buy something that's really going to work. Threw that thing away. It only cost $30. I guess you get what you pay for. So I'm not worried about high blood pressure anymore. As far as gaining weight, I haven't. I mean, I am fluctuating in a certain area right now. I'm still down. I still haven't hit my ultimate goal, but I haven't gone up. I've been maintaining. I'm good with that. One of the things, which comes to the last thing where I mentioned, was I was walking fewer steps than before. And I think I mentioned this in another video where I had a leg injury. And actually, I think it's on my other channel, where it wasn't an injury, it's just that all of a sudden it started hurting. And so I had to go through this stuff where I went to see my doctor. They sent me for a sonogram, the first sonogram in my life, the last sonogram in my life. That was miserable. They couldn't figure anything out. I get home, I'm still in pain after a couple of days. I look it up online, it makes some suggestions. I try those suggestions. That leg pain goes away. But it comes back at night sometimes. So I've been going through certain adjustments, working on that. And I think I found something now. I'm not totally sure. It's working most of the time. That's the best I have. But it's working most of the time. So I start the night sleeping on one side because that's how I fall asleep. But then I wake up a little bit. And now either my leg is bothering me or I don't feel like I'm breathing properly. And then I switch to the other side. It's goofy, but I'm sleeping better. I will accept that. And over the last, I will say 6 or 7 days, I've been averaging at least 7 miles a day. Yesterday I only had 5.5, but other than that, I've been between 7 and 8 miles a day. So I'm getting closer to getting back to where I was before, which was between 8 and 12. I'm getting there slowly. Anyway, I think that when I look at everything that I said I wanted to do back 10 months ago, I've done well. I've stayed on track with most of it. I've improved some of the bad stuff. I've addressed everything. And I didn't want to do this to make it look like I was bragging or, really just failing or whatever. Basically, a lot of people make goals. There were a lot of people who probably made New Year's Eve goals or New Year's Day goals for the year and have already failed those things. Well, I like to set goals and then go back to see, okay, how much, did I stick to what I said I wanted to do? And then I figure, what, I might as well share. I've got nothing to hide. I shared something that I did for many years ago where I said these are things I wanted, and then I shared that and turned out that I didn't want almost any of that stuff anymore. So the things you sometimes want when you're younger, okay, I was still in my 50s, but still, it was 10 years earlier, so there it is. Sometimes you find out that's just not the way you wanted to go. So I'm proud that I stuck with the good goals. I'm proud that I've modified some of the bad goals. And the goals that I wanted to stick with that I didn't affect me much at all. Anyhow, my name is Mitch Mitchell. You're up to date. And by the way, if you are a constant watcher, there's not a ton of you, but if you are, let me know if it looks like when I'm speaking that the audio is coming out pretty close to the same time as my speaking. I did this major thing on my computer. It took me an hour because me and the computer were fighting, but I did this thing and I hope that I fixed it. Y'all let me know. Anyway, y'all have a wonderful day.